started. Oh, I'll wait for it to officially record. Hi, everyone. 20 minutes goes really fast, so I will go ahead and get started here. My name is Stephanie Rothstein, and I am going to be talking to you about building connections. And I call this Can We Talk? I've actually made an LLC, which is pretty exciting. That's a new adventure called Can We Talk EDU. And this sparked out of things that have come from my innovator journey. And I just wanted to kind of guide you through my process, how I got here, along with what it does and how you can utilize it in your own classroom and or in your own working groups or with teams. Is everybody hearing me okay? Sounds all right before I keep going? I know, Darren, you're, I just wanted to make sure. Okay, perfect. Thank you. Okay, so the bit.ly is here on the side for you. bit.ly/CWT for Can We Talk EDU Spark. And you are welcome to go there. It'll be here throughout the whole presentation. Here's my contact info if you need it. Okay. So a little bit of background on this. There is a survey that usually I have people take before I give this presentation that's all around personality and learning styles. I'm giving it to you as if you have not taken that today, which is not a problem at all. But if you're going to give the presentation, you likely will want to ask people to take it. So I'll guide through as if you have not. So no worries on that. A little backstory about this presentation and talk. I've been an educator for 18 years. I'm both a TOSA, a teacher on special assignment, and in the classroom. I chair a design-based thinking pathway at my school, and I teach the English classes there. And so I have always been interested for the last 20 years or so. I have been utilizing personality assessments in what I've been doing. And I've been doing this with staff and with my students. And it was only this year on via Global GEG when I said, should I present about this? We seem to be having a little bit of what I would call growing pains, like communication is needed between some of our teammates. And we were doing some great things, but I think we needed to learn how to actually talk to each other. And so originally I wanted to give this presentation as an internal group, like something just to our small team. And then the group said, why don't you present it on the global channel? And I did. And then it sparked an entire project after that. So I'm going to take you through what it is and what it sparked. Okay, so in terms of the norms and background about the colors, it is a real survey that existed before me, but I have tried and tried many. So this one is called the True Colors Survey. It is a survey from Ketterman from 1972, and it actually is connected to Myers-Briggs. So if you've ever taken the Myers-Briggs survey, Ketterman used to work with Myers-Briggs and then made an offshoot that was something geared more at students and more at learning styles than necessarily always personality, but it's personality/learning. So one of the things that you should know is that it divides our personality and learning style into 4 colors, and that we need all of them, and that the whole point of it is that it's used for good. It's used for the power of good, as I always say. My goal is to help anyone that I work with to find strengths in other people and to always assume best intentions. And I find that sometimes if you try to look up the way that some of these are utilized or other presentations, that there's often a lot published around the negative side of people's personality types or learning styles. And I don't find any of that really helpful. And it, in my opinion, turns people off from actually diving deep into how to use them. So I work really hard not to do that. I use it in my class. I use it with staff. I use it with parents in any teams. I use it in my personal life all the time. So a brief overview, there are the 4. Our blues are our people that are our feelers. So they begin in a place that is from the heart. They hear things that way. They are the glue of every group, and they connect people in every team. When it comes to giving feedback to a blue, I am really thoughtful about it, because as a teacher, anyone that is a blue is going to first hear, she doesn't like me if I write anything. So I often have to think about how to use a kind sandwich and how to help a blue know when I give you feedback, it is for the purpose of helping you grow and to reinforce that I really do like them and care about them. And often blues are asking about other people, but people need to ask them about them. It's not always done for them. And orange typically is someone that likes a lot of action. They tend to want to know how something applies to them personally and directly. And so where a blue is checking in on other people, an orange is often asking how this affects them. How will this help me? They tend to be driven by challenges or driven by being someone that might be into sports, but that idea of rapid fire really works well with an orange. They also tend to be quite charismatic and might be people who can get up without practice in a team, and that tends to be a big strength of an orange typically. And then when it comes to feedback, again, I need to tailor it to them personally. So putting their name on something, making sure that the feedback is directed feedback. If I give general feedback to an orange and I just say, you need to improve your grammar, they're going to look at me and throw the paper away. So they really need to know, like, what is the specific part that you are talking about? And then they'll pay attention to it. And then our greens are our big picture people, big idea people, our big questioners, our why people. They like to strategize. So oftentimes greens might come in after hearing something, like an entire talk from other people. And at the end, they'll come in with that one statement where everyone will go, why didn't you say that at the start? And it's because a green takes a little bit of time to actually process. They want to go through and analyze each thing and figure out, is that the best way forward? Should we be doing something else? What has worked before? But there are constant kind of questioners in that process. And it's because they're diving deep on that. And they tend to approach things from that lens. So when it comes to giving feedback to someone who is a green, I often begin with questions. I don't provide them with an answer, because through questions, they will figure out their own answer and it's more meaningful for them. And then for our golds are driven by knowing that something is, quote, right. They want to know that something is being done in the right way. They are calmed by a list. They're calmed by order. They're calmed by rules, and they want to know what those are in any situation that they approach. And so for a gold, if you say something, you need to hold yourself to that standard, or else they will lose respect for you. So when it comes to students who are golds, they are great at being in a team and helping out that team to adhere to any sort of deadline and making sure that they're meeting the requirements of the rubric. It's true in life for anybody that's a gold as well. Where a gold, where I often have to think about for a gold, they've already looked at all of that, the rubric. So it might be more on those areas that are open for interpretation. So in things that are open-ended questions, a gold is often going to say to me, but what do you want? What do you actually want? And they want that example. They want to know that they are adhering to, quote, your standard. And so in my design thinking pathway, where there might not be an answer and there might not be a standard, and what I am looking for actually is your ability to propose something, that becomes a big challenge, right? That conceptual piece can be something that is more of a challenge, but it's a great challenge for them. And so I wait to give them examples, but I do have it because I want them to have developed their own idea, and then we move forward with the how. So it is pretty funny if you try to put people in teams that are all their same color grouping. And it's why I talk about often that we need to be around people of all that are all different learning styles. Because when you do, what you're going to get is a wide variety. So if you put all of your blues together, they're going to be really happy with each other, probably singing in like a lovely little circle together and high-fiving each other. But sorry if you're hearing my children, but one second. Okay. Eliza, I need you to be quieter, please. Okay, sorry. It never fails that she will shout from the potty when I'm giving a presentation. So that's my third kid. No fear. Okay, so so our blues are going to be sitting in a circle. They're going to be happy, high-fiving each other, and they're going to be happy to be together. And it'll be lovely. But we also need to make sure, did they get all the things that they needed to get at for that presentation? Our oranges are going to get up and have a lot of personality. They'll have talked to each other for the entire time and had a great time because it's rooted in joy for them, right? Making things fun. But again, did they get to everything they were supposed to? They're going to give a charismatic and dynamic presentation and start it off beautifully. But did they get to everything? And then our greens might not have anything at all because they might have argued the entire time about how to do something. And then our golds might have everything, but is it as dynamic as it could be? Does it have all of the pieces and all of the like love that could be in there? Are they connecting with their audience? Are they doing something that everybody is able to follow along with, right? We need everyone there in order to have the most dynamic, interesting, thoughtful, connected presentation that we actually can. And not just a presentation, but also just whatever it is that you're trying to create. So with that, greens are visionaries, blues bring harmony, gold stabilize, and oranges provide joy. It does not mean that you can't do any of those things if you are not that color. Those are just generalizations. And I often say that over and over and over again, that these are generalizations. It does not mean that you cannot have any of these qualities, but it just helps to provide balance in the team. This is, if you need it, this is an infographic that was made by Ms. Lefebvre. She's awesome, and she made that after seeing my presentation. So it's here for you to help guide you through some of that. And then some of the applications. So I use this when I am not in person right now. We are virtual, but when I was in person, this is how I did it, where I actually had students write their names on just a simple piece of cardstock. I took their picture. This was on the second day of school. And then I would take those pictures and laminate them. That lamination of those photos then got put into usually what's used in elementary schools, maybe for doing the calendaring, like that monthly calendar. And I would hang this up, and that was how I did my teams. And I would put little numbers in the corner for what table they were sitting at. And then as I moved things around, I would put a new number next to it in Sharpie. So for each project, I would alter it. And I would alter the order that I gave it in as well. So I often would start with my golds to know, like, do I have someone that is going to be able to showcase any like deadlines and necessary pieces? And then I filter in either my blues or my greens, and then my oranges. And the reason that I do that is oftentimes the oranges have a ton of personality, and those personalities, I want to make sure that I balance them in a team. So what I have done with this in my last 6 or 7 minutes of presenting here, what I have done is I've actually created now a website that has all of this information. It has me presenting it and more, and then it shows some applications. And so I'm going to show you that in a minute, but here are a few of them. So one is I give it to my students, and then they make their own slide for themselves where they showcase that. Another idea that came out that Stephanie Howell started to do with her staff, and then I turned that into a different part of the presentation, was a slide where you could have everybody in a group or in a class start to put where they are on a shared slide so that you could visually see the balance or the dynamics of that class. And then this one over here on the right with my phone case, that was an application that I did in my own classroom this year that I also have templates of for all of you, which was they could choose a phone case, a hydro flask, or a notebook that was in their color, and then they decorate it with stickers that's all around. And then they put their picture and a little bit about them on a slide. Those slides were given to them. They were assigned each a slide, and then they made their own, and then they recorded a flip grid showcasing that particular slide. They would download it and put it in as a sticker in the flip grid, and then they would talk about it. And then that then became something that different people in the class would watch and give feedback on. And I made sure that I made our first groupings that we had really ones that had a variety of colors within it to help them get to know different people in the class. We also, when giving the presentation, so I have this presentation, I'll come back to this slide. I have this presentation, here it is, as a pear deck. I also have it in Nearpod and then a Google slide presentation. And so it has audio of me talking through it that you could use with staff or students, and guided questions. I did that with my own students, and it was really quite useful. A lot of the questions were around them reflecting on how can we best approach other people in the class that are different from you? How can we help? What can you bring to a team that helps make it better? Who do you know that you can tell based on this is of this personality type? How might you approach them differently now, knowing that? What is your way of talking to them? How do we hear people differently? And I asked them, how can we be one class, one family, and actually learn from each other? And they provided really great answers that then became the norms of our class. I'm going to go back a few slides to show you a few more things. So then this next part here, after this, just so that you have a little bit of background, this is typical percentages that are here for both students and teachers. I find depending on the age of yours, it is different, but it tends to be these percentages. I do find that in my particular pathway, I get a lot more oranges than anything else. I also, I am personally a green, but those tend to be fewer in terms of teachers, which is often quite interesting for me. And then I also talk about what it means to be your only color in a group or in a class, and how we need to really make sure that those people feel extremely valued in that space and that they should be fought over to be in a team. And then I'm going to show you the website. So this website is what has become my new project. So my first Innovator Project was being one of the founders of Global. And then from there, this sparked, and it has been a rapid fire ever since. So on this website, it has the original presentation I gave through Global. It also has all the information about what is your color. It has the slide deck. It has the survey. There's also a survey here for younger students that I'm looking to revamp, but it was the one that I could find in the amount of time that we had, since it's based on a real survey. And then it has all of the pieces that I have shown to you that you can utilize. The other thing that I'm starting to do, or that I have done, is monthly challenges. So each month you can come back. And so we did one for August, and now there's one in September. And the idea of this is that it helps you no matter where you are, who you are, whatever your color is, it gives you a challenge for the month to help you to grow. And so to think about what it is that you want to become better at, and how can you connect with people that are of a different learning style, personality type than you, and how can you make sure that other people are feeling valued. So this month, we have for gold, check in with a blue and ask them how they're really doing, really listening to their answer. For a blue, when something bothers you, try to actually say it immediately. For a green, use a timer when you're coming up with ideas, because oftentimes we could go on forever. And then for an orange, writing a detailed note of gratitude and thanking two people in the class. And we're doing these in my class. We're doing them also here via Can We Talk? And after that's done, once a month, I'm doing Twitter chats where people are reflecting. And then there's also a form for reflection. My ultimate goal is to take all of those reflections and ideas for application. You can apply this in your classroom. I use it for so many things. And I know I'm in my last minute, so I'll just show you a couple of those. But after the challenges, I also use it I use it to apply when I am doing things with my own staff. I use it to apply in my content area. So we talk about the color or personality type of an author. We talk about it of a book. We talk about it, my science teachers talk about it of elements. Like, you can apply it to anything and really think about who are they gearing it towards. But when you start to really begin to think and broaden your perspective about how to use it, you'll realize that it's everywhere. And what it does, my hope is what it does is it helps people to connect and value other people and learn how to listen first. and then go from there. It's a hard thing to do often, but to learn how to learn from other people, I think, is a really big challenge, and one that is necessary and needed. And it is the start of empathetic listening and learning. And until we can do that, we won't really be valuing the other people around us. So if you need more information, you can follow me on Twitter. There's Can We Talk on Twitter, and then this has the entire presentation. And I'll come back in here if there's anything else. Thank you. Thanks, Natasha. Oh, she's my mentor. Thanks, Natasha. Sorry I wasn't over here to, thank you so much.
Good job.